This is Sizzle, powered by Fit to Be Trained, coming to you from the Deep End Broadcasting Network studios here in the lovely Virginia Beach, Virginia, in the United States of America. Do you want to be part of the 30-day or 60-day transformation? Contact Karen, aka Sizzle, on any of her social media platforms. Now, here's your host of Fit to Be Trained, Karen Dougherty.
Yay. So glad to be here.
Good morning.
How
Good
are
afternoon,
you?
wherever you are in the world.
Right. I do have a lot of
Good evening if you're in Europe.
Right. Isn't that the truth? I always, when I'm teaching classes, especially virtually, I often talk about the cold or whatever we're experiencing here in Virginia. And then it dawns on me, I'm like, wait a minute. Like a lot of people are from, I have some clients, Texas, California, so the weather has been cold here in Virginia, but it's not everybody's problem.
Getting a little warmer, though, across the country.
Thank goodness. I know. We finally are getting a break. How are you doing?
I am thawing out, literally.
Right. Me too. Yes, I agree. My house it was so hard to, my house was either really, really hot or really, really cold. It was just.
Yeah, I agree.
And in different spots, and I couldn't turn the heat off. We were boiling at nighttime, but I was afraid
the room gets hotter at night. So.
I was afraid the pipes would freeze. So I literally wanted to turn the heat off, but I was like, I just better not do that. It's not my house. I rent. I don't know it. Yeah, I just was like, oh God. So up and down and space heaters, but I think we're actually gonna have a break for a little while. I don't think there's anything coming in for a hot minute.
I feel it in my joints, to be honest.
Do you?
A little bit, yeah.
Do you struggle with?
Well, when it's cold, it's
right.
It's like you're seized up and locked up.
Yes. And I was so tired yesterday, and I had a lot of reasons to be tired, but I actually suspected it was from being cold for so much. They say you burn more calories in the cold, and I felt like just from being tense and being cold, and I would dress for it when I would go outside, but inside my house is where I was experiencing it more. I was struggling more. Like I knew I'd be cold outside. So I literally wore ski pants when I took Maverick for walks, and he was good to go. He's so cute. He's a little Chihuahua. So you'd think that he would need a jacket. He has a jacket. He just won't wear it. And he loves it out there. It's so I got to spend time out there with him because I was dressed for it. Go back in the house and I'm freezing my butt off. It didn't make any sense, but I won't continue with that for my friends in different states that aren't experiencing any troubles with the cold.
Next thing you know, we'll be complaining it's 110.
I know. That's why I try not to complain about weather, because it's irrelevant. It's coming. Every day is going to produce something, right?
Would you rather it be 25 degrees or 110 degrees?
That's a good question, because I thought about that a lot during this time, and I think I hate being cold. I hate it. But I used to always say that you can do something about cold. Like you can put clothes on, right. You can wear heat. You really can't do anything. And fitness wise, I perform way better in the cold. Summertime, I get very, very lethargic, and I don't really like it. So I got the jury's out on that one. I don't know, because I thought about it a lot this last couple of days. Like I used to always say the cold is better, but I was like, man, I hate being cold. It makes me miserable. Yeah. And my Pilates reformer was in the garage, and I might have said it already last week, but I brought it inside the house. I couldn't compete with, we don't have the best insulation in the garage, and I had 3 heaters out there, and I would have blown circuits. I mean, I just had to. So my downstairs is like a gym in there. It's kind of cool. I actually really like it. It's convenient. Like now I pick up dumbbells, or I walk to go upstairs. I do a couple deadlifts,
Oh, nice.
Not all the time, but more than I did when it was in the garage. It's kind of nice. So what I'm talking about today is a favorite subject of mine right now. It's procrastination and perfectionism. And like if I got in front of like a therapist, that would be what I'd want to talk about. Like if I got in front and she was like, okay, what are you here for today, Karen? Because I've been in front of them a million times and that's what they ask you. And I'd be like, I really want to work on perfectionism and procrastination because I am 59 and a half and I'm going into my 60th year. And I know, thank you. I'm so excited about it. And 60 is going to be, I'm not sad about that birthday. I can't wait. And I feel like it's going to be a great decade. I've been through a lot of stuff, and obviously every year, every decade brings you stuff, but I'm really at a time in my life where I'm really on like my parents are, have passed on, and I have the lovely memories and all that to celebrate. And my son is launching, he's grown and he's an adult now, and I get to be Karen Dougherty again. And I think I like Dougherty. I know that you're a Virginian and you guys say Daughtry, and my son says Daughtry, and that's really pretty. But I will always be Karen Dougherty. And I was watching on Instagram a comedian from my town, from Cherry Hill, and I can't think of his name. I wish I could. And if I look it, I'll try and look it up and shout it out because he's really funny. And he would say my name is Dougherty, but he jokes around a lot about being from Jersey and that specific town. And I'm kind of proud of who I am. I really, at 60 years old, am like, man, I've had a good life. I've done things that I've wanted to do. I even got the honor of having a child. That wasn't something that I planned on. And and I had some bumps, and obviously it's not over yet. He'll be 22. And we've had some bumps and ups and downs in our 22 years, but it was definitely a privilege. And I realized being a mom is a privilege. So I even got to do that one, and travel, and just really excited for this next chapter in my life. And so what I usually do is evaluate. When I turned 30, I was like, all right, I'm not going in as a drunk. I was partying all the time, and I'm nothing against partying, but for me, I just didn't know how to stop drinking alcohol. So I was like, I'm getting sober for my 30s. So I can feel that I'm kind of doing the same thing going into my 60s, but it's different things. I've kicked alcohol twice in the last decade. I went sober and I relapsed during that time, but that's a different story. And but I conquered it again, and now I'm 15 years sober. But I want to conquer procrastination and perfectionism. And doing the research and stuff that I've been doing for the last couple of months is they go hand in hand. Perfectionism and procrastination love to just loop on each other. And it really can set me back. And I even asked Chat GPT, what should I do my podcast on this week? And Chat GPT said procrastination and perfectionism, because I was going to do it on something more fitnessy. And I thought, oh my God, if my Chat GPT even picks it, I'm going with it. So let's talk about procrastination. Procrastination is the act of delaying and avoiding tasks, even ones you want or need to do, often because they feel overwhelming. That was me. I always would get overwhelmed with stuff, uncomfortable, or tied to fear, uncertainty, or pressure. It's not laziness. It's usually an emotional response to stress, expectations, or self-doubt. So that's so long. I want to repeat it, but it's too long. But I just want people to know that you're not alone if you're struggling with that. And perfectionism and procrastination tie so much with each other, because let me find the official definition of perfectionism. Oh, crap. Sorry, did I say that out loud? Perfectionism is the tendency to set unrealistically high standards for yourself and to judge worth based on whether you meet those standards. It often shows up as overthinking, fear of mistakes, and a constant sense that nothing is ever good enough, even when it is. And I believe that most of the time it is. It's just like worrying, when they tell us, like, if you're worrying about something, half the things that you worry about and more than half don't happen. Like when you wake up in the middle of the night and you're stressing about something, usually that scenario never happens. So I don't really worry. I have stress about bills and finances and stuff like that. Like that's normal. But I don't worry over things. I'm pretty good at that. But when it comes to perfectionism and procrastination, oh my goodness. And I'm so dang hard on myself and I'm sick of it. I don't want to go into this next decade dealing with it because I know that it's BS. I'm old enough to know that voice in y'all's head is BS. And I think everybody has it. And some of ours are just louder than others. I think that. And I think I went to a therapist in my 30s and we called her the taskmaster, the voice in my head, because she was always like, go do this, do that, do this, do that. It's better, faster, harder. Like everything I did was never good enough. And it was in my own head, and we do have control over that. That's why therapy works and you go and you get the tools on how to do that. But again, that's a whole another podcast, and I'm not even educated enough. You'd have to go to therapy to learn that kind of stuff. But I do want to bring it up, and I want people to know that it's just normal. It's just how you react to that voice in your head, or if you just know that it's BS. And I'm getting there. I'm like, I'm not listening to her anymore. She's such a BRT thing. So how does perfectionism hold us back? Nothing is ever good enough. And you heard me just say it. I was never good enough and I couldn't do, I excel in things, and people that know me compliment me on things, but if you would hear my own head, it didn't match, so I want to start seeing myself like others see me. I don't mean to go down the religious road, but I will say this because I do happen to have a God. Look at yourself as God looks at you. Oh my gosh. Sorry. I mean, nobody's less judgmental than God. Sometimes there's misconceptions out in the world, but again, another podcast where people think God is very judgmental, and mine isn't. Mine's really nice. I'm the one that's judgmental. My God thinks I'm great and perfect just the way I am. And I'm trying to get more on his or her team. You know what I mean? Mistakes equal failure. So if you're a perfectionist, you think that your mistakes equal failure. So you avoid risks that could help you talk yourself into it. You avoid risks that could help you grow. So thankfully, I've been battling this for a couple of years because this podcast would be a great example, where I'd be like, no, I'm not good enough. Or that voice in my head would be like, you can't do a podcast. Here you is. You only have 1,000 followers or blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And no, I've been able to overcome that because I wanted a voice. I have a lot to share. And I knew that I had a lot of women in my world, the wellness and fitness world alone, that would love to come on and share and have a voice, even if there's 10 of us listening. Do we care if it's perfect? No, I can't say it enough. Like me and Steve were just laughing before this podcast because last week we were dinking with, getting the bacon back on and, uploads. And I don't know what Steve's job is, but it's, he's got a lot of buttons over there. We'll say that. And we could hear everything in our head, and it sounded great in our headphones. And I'm even joking, and I'm not joking. I'm dead serious. In the last podcast, I'm like, God, it sounds really good. It sounds so professional. And I was listening to the audio, and there's nothing there. And I thought, do you think I'm not going to upload that podcast anyway? Heck no. We talked about fitness through the decades last week. It was a great subject. So I'm trying to not let perfectionism get in my way, because if I saw that mistake as failure, that would be ridiculous. And then I'm not getting information out there that needs to be out there. And let's be realistic. Nobody likes anybody who's perfect. They're annoying. Do you know what I mean? Nobody does. People like you if you're a little bit flawed. I've found the more authentic I am, the more open I am about who I am, I have lots and lots of friends, and I luckily get to retain them through my entire life. And why? Because I'm flawed. And I know it. And I think that
I think people can relate to stories of failure and stuff
right
better than they do with stories of success.
and stories of success are fun and everything, but they're, a blessing. Unfortunately, I feel like life has more failures than it does successes, because that's how a lot of us learn our lessons.
Yeah, that's how you learn. Yeah.
Right. So if we were all success, and that's why spoiling our children is like something my generation had a really hard time not doing, because we all felt like our parents were so mean. And now the lessons that you learn, the hardships are a good thing, Mistakes equal failure. That was the last one. Your worth is tied to your performance. So how perfectionism holds you back or holds us back. You think your worth is tied to the performance. So every task feels so high stakes. That's a lot of pressure to put on oneself. But I remember being that way, especially in athletics. And I've never been like a top tier athlete, but I've always been good. And I have discipline, which really helps. So I think coaches, when you have discipline, you show up for practice, you do what you're supposed to do, they appreciate that, rather than the athlete that's got tons of talent and doesn't even come to practice, or doesn't even try as hard. I think I've always hoped in my athleticism that I would get somebody that appreciated a hard worker. You must wait until you're ready, which often means you never start. So perfectionism, that would happen to me in my job all the time, because I was trying to move my fitness training onto the virtual platform. And so I wanted everything to be perfect and beautiful. And I wanted every picture of me to look like a supermodel. Well, check this out. I'm not a supermodel. And photographers and lighting and fake eyelashes and a spray tan can do amazing things for a girl. And everybody knows it. All us girls, we love that stuff. But it's not real life. And every single shot of me wasn't going to be like that, where my photographer had the best shot. We tend to look at magazines, us girls are back in the day, and now we're online, but those magazines are all photoshopped, and the photographers are amazing, even if they're not photoshopping. I mean, my pictures look so good, and you can tell on my Instagram where when I'm with a professional and when I'm just me in the garage. Looks a little different. But I was going through time, where when I was trying to go online, that I felt like I always had to look perfect, and I'm over that. And I'm finding that I think it probably held me back really far, where people didn't see me as authentic. So I'm grateful for this podcast, Steve, because at least people get to, if they tune in here and associate the two, go, oh, this girl is authentic, or, she's not just a photoshopped fake eyelash girl. How does procrastination hold us back? Procrastination holds us back because we delay the very things that would build confidence. So let me backtrack. I skipped a whole line because I have ADD too, but that's another podcast too. Procrastination isn't laziness. It's emotional avoidance. It holds you back by delaying the very things that would build confidence. So this podcast has helped me build confidence. It's helped me go, who cares if the sizzle isn't on or the blah, 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 blah. You know, I don't care. Now building confidence by going on Instagram and talking. But I used to, you avoid stuff like that when you procrastinate. So stop doing that if that's you. And talk to me further if that's you. I am happy to talk about this subject, as you can well see. Creating stress. It creates stress, guilt, and mental clutter. Oh my God. I feel like if somebody opened up my brain, I'd love to see what came out.
I think a lot of clutter would fall out of my brain.
Mine too. I had a girlfriend. I was staying with her when I was going to Jersey a lot when my father was ill. And I was staying with her, and I'm a note taker, a list maker, and you know, and she's a badass. Like she can get a job done so fast, you know. And I've always like admired her. I've known her since we were in 7th grade. Sharon Kelly, love you if you're out there, Sharon. But anyway, she was a great athlete too because she could make decisions really fast and boom, boom, get the basket, get the ball in the basket, right? Mm-hmm. But anyway, she said to me, I see a whole lot of, I don't know how she worded it. And it almost would have sounded like she was insulting me, but I didn't take it that way. And she didn't mean it that way. Like I was wandering around doing a lot of list making. I was wandering around doing a lot of prep rather than just getting the task done. And I filed that in the back of my head because I knew she didn't mean it as an insult. I took it as it was visible. She could see it in my behavior, like not only because I knew it felt like that in my head. So I thought, oh my God, well, if my girlfriend sees it, then it's really happening and I need to chill. So that's when I started doing the timer thing. Like I set timers now because that helps me stay on track and stay on task because I have a really hard time. And as I age, my ADD is 10 times worse. And I am not taking medicine now. No way. I'm like, I like who I am. I've been dealing with this for a long time, but it is, I'm not, at least my experience is that I don't want to, create, say that about people with ADD, that aging makes it worse, but it has gotten worse. So, I apologize. I'm off track. Sorry. I went off the list of procrastination. It shrinks your opportunities because you run out of time. How procrastination holds us back. It shrinks your opportunities because you run out of time. I feel like that happens to me. Keeping you in a cycle of I'll start tomorrow. Now that happens to me in my job for my clients. My job is to help my clients stop procrastinating about food and fitness. So that's my job. You can come to me as a total procrastinator, but I can't do it for you. So the I'll start tomorrow thing, everybody's guilty of, but that's what most people come to me because they're like, I am not starting tomorrow, and keeps coming and coming and going and going. And it's become years. Back to perfectionism, I kind of split it up when I was doing my research, and then how they work together is I kind of did how it holds us back, but let's go into how they work together. Is perfectionism says it has to be perfect. So if that voice in your head is like, it has to be perfect, I have that voice. Procrastination replies, then I'll do it later. Because I'll give an example. Like for my job, I have to do I don't have to, but I like to do videos. And I like to do little reels of little fitness tips, and I like them to be really short. So the client or the viewer on Instagram will get it, because I have ADD and I don't like real long stuff. So I'm trying to reach out to people that are like me. And so I try to keep it short and quick. And I look like crap. I'll look in the mirror and I'll be like, oh, I look like crap. Well, I can't do my video now. So I'll do it later. Oh, I this and that. I'll do it later. Like, I can't tell you, oh, my space isn't quite right. The lighting, I'll do it later. Like, later never comes. And then you miss opportunities. It's just a loop of craziness. So how they feed each other, perfectionism raises the stakes. Procrastination delays the task. So like I just said, oh, I don't look good enough, so I'm not going to do the video till later. I looked the same at 4 p.m. By the way. So if I would have just done it at 10, it would have been done. I would have had my confidence, because it does make me feel good when I do a good job. It doesn't make me feel good when I do this, because that was the whole thing about this. I was sick and tired of having bad self-esteem. And I was like, I'm not going into my 60s having bad self-esteem. I have nothing to have bad self-esteem about. And I would talk to others and they were like the same. It's just a waste of time. And usually bad self-esteem comes to something from your childhood. My God, I'm 60 now. I'm not bringing shit from from my childhood into my 60s. My God, it's like silly, right? And I don't want anybody to do that, because it's ridiculous. The task gets bigger in your mind. Perfectionism intensifies. Okay, so how they feed each other. I got to do that one again. So the task gets bigger in your mind and perfectionism intensifies. Okay, so I guess if you put it off, you avoid starting because you fear it won't be perfect, and you feel behind, which reinforces both patterns. So it's getting a little too deep for me, but together they block creativity. I know this to be true, consistency, and most important, progress. So together, the two of these big fat problems block creativity, consistency, and progress. They're big. They're issues that will really hold us back, and they have me. Here are straightforward, factual bullet points. So you can tell I'm on Chat GPT. I don't know how I ever existed without it. And I would say that I didn't. Because now, like, I always was a research girl. So I would have to research. I'd go to the library, which I miss. I do love the library. And then I'd have to research in books. Like, and my bedside table is still full of books, but I'm usually now on chat or, online. But here's our straightforward. You can tell I asked chat. I went straightforward, factual bullet points. Okay. Overcoming perfectionism. Set good enough as the goal instead of perfect. And I've been doing that for the last couple of weeks. And my brother, who I adore, and everybody knows that, and he adores me. So he's my biggest fan. And he's not the best critic, because I never do anything. I always said that about him and my dad. They're my biggest fans. Yay, that's the best video I've ever seen. They're so great like that. But my brother did say to me on Sunday, he was like, your stuff looks really, really good. And you know what? I have been way more authentic. So maybe my brother's saying that because he sees his sister, his real sister, not the fake eyelashes and the bright and he will make comments like, wow, that was a really good picture. You look so nice in that picture. That's a pretty dress or whatever. But he knows that's not his sister. His sister is the one that's in the garage with a Harley shirt on, working out, or a fitness shirt with Arnold poster back behind me with hair that hasn't been washed in 4 days and a hat. And that's who I am, you know? So I wonder that. I'll have to ask him, but he did just tell me on Sunday, your stuff looks really, really good. And I thought, wow, okay, maybe it's because it's authentic. Or what I've also been doing is going into my archives, which I have tons of photos because I've done photo shoots, and because I didn't look perfect in the shot, I didn't use it. And now 2 years later, I look at the shot and it's perfect. I'm like, why didn't I ever use this? This is a great shot. Because I was so, I don't know, self-critical or whatever. So what I do now is just go into my Dropbox and snag a photo. Don't criticize it. Don't look at it. Don't and just add it with a fact, you know, and it saves me so much time, because what was happening is I would look for perfectionism and then the post would never even get posted. So break tasks into small finishable steps. So everything, break it down. You know, say you want to lose 10 pounds. Well, right now, what are you going to do to lose one? Start with day by day. In recovery, it's one day at a time. It's like that in anything. It's like that in my quest for perfectionism. And it's one day at a time, 1 minute at a time. That's what us as recovering addicts say. Because back in the, you know, when you're trying to get clean, sometimes it's 1 minute at a time, you know, a day. What? A day is too long. That might be where the saying, the day is, you know, how you do, you know, the day is long or whatever. That must have come from us. Practice starting before you feel ready. Huh. I'm not sure I understand that one. Practice starting before you feel ready. Okay, I get it. So a lot of times we're always like, well, I'm not really ready to do that. I'm not ready to do that. Overcome that. I wonder how you would overcome it. I've listened to other people, other podcasts on this subject, or Mel Robbins. People might be familiar with her name. She's a motivational speaker. I think in recovery for alcoholism too, but that's not her claim to fame or anything like that. But she, like me, got caught in that in her life and conquered it too. But the 1, 2, 3 method comes from her, where you just have to literally go, all right, I need to go put a load of laundry in, but then you want to do something else. And you just literally, it's something physiology in your brain. 1, 2, 3. Or I'm sorry, it's not 1, 2, 3. It's 3, 2, 1. And I don't know that it starts at 3. I feel like it, if I recall, that she started with 10, 9, 8, you know, count down. There's something about that countdown that helps the brain relax. It's literally
You know, I've
science.
done before, like literally, like if I didn't want to work out, I would at least put my shoes on and get ready while I'm still sitting there waiting to go. And that's kind of like what you're saying is a countdown.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like practicing to get ready. Anyway.
Practicing to get ready, right? For sure. Anything that works. That's good. So practicing starting before you feel ready. Focus on progress, not outcomes. I really like that, especially when it's weight loss or fitness, because when you hit that plateau in fitness or weight loss, people can get really hung up. And I have some clients right now that are on doing the weight loss journey, and she's not struggling with you know, perfectionism and all that stuff. But if she was, that's what I'd have to coach her on, is look at how far you've come, you know, the progress that she's made. Even if it's small, because you know how it is in a weight loss journey. In the beginning, it's pretty, you know, it happens pretty quickly because your digestion changes, your water, everything, and then it kind of slows down and then it goes back. And yes, you've really got to or fitness level, same thing, you know, like I'm not getting stronger, the pin's not moving, you know, my weights aren't going up. Um focus on progress would be just the fact that you went to the gym. You've been going. The progress might not be in the weight stack. It might be in the fact that you've created a new habit, or that you've mustered up some discipline inside yourself, because that is to be rewarded. Discipline is the hardest part, I would say, is finding any little mental trick that can help you. Like I've said to clients that are on the virtual training, do you need me to reach out to you? And I'm on a platform called Trainerize for my virtual clients and my the transformation programs, and it's such a cool program because it'll literally reach out for your clients too. Like if you haven't heard from them, it'll reach out to me and tell me, touch base with so and so, because it's like that. When you have a list of clients, it helps to really just kind of push somebody on or remind them of their progress, not to just necessarily nag on them like, did you work out? Remind them, having a good day or stuff like that, to constantly be positive. Is really my job, is to make their journey as positive as possible. Focus on progress, not outcomes. Allow yourself to make imperfect drafts. Allow yourself to make imperfect drafts. I don't know what that is. So let's come back to it. Use time limits to prevent over editing. So I would say that's probably like, I set my timers for 15 minutes usually. But I think what this means, because this is my Chat GPT and Chat does get to know you, is that we gave myself 2 minutes to pick out a picture in Dropbox, and I wasn't even, it took me like 5. So you're trying to figure out ways to cut out the mayhem, like all the minutia, which is just clutter. Like when I'm going into my Dropbox to pick out pictures, and Dropbox is just a platform that holds lots of material. It's like a cloud. But yeah, it gave me 2 minutes and it took me 10. So I think that's what that means. Use time limits to prevent over editing. So you tell yourself, all right, I'm going to give myself this long to do this task. I'm going to give myself 15 minutes to get my shoes on and get out the door, whether it be for work, for a walk, for fitness, whatever. Challenge all or nothing thinking with realistic standards, because this is the first time we've said all or nothing today. I'm shocked, because that's what I think hinders me the most, is the perfectionism. Because of it, I end up doing a lot of nothing. Like I'll work on something and then it's not perfect, and then that time is gone. I can't get that time back. So that all or nothing, like, oh, it's not perfect, so I'm not doing it, is ridiculous. And the information that I have to share is important. It doesn't matter if it's edited to the T or has the right emojis or the picture. Like hearing myself talk, because you can tell I'm probably talking most about presentations and social media and my marketing stuff. So yeah, I'm done with all that silly perfectionism stuff. Hearing myself talk makes me realize how silly it really is. Celebrate completion, not perfection. And I think in the athletic world too, like it makes me think of our athletes that come on here who, because there's a lot to be said for trying to achieve perfection. But I would love to have, like, I wish I had an athlete right now to talk to, like Marsha or Tammy, or, because I think that would hold them back. Like, I think they are celebrating completion, not perfection, or they wouldn't be at the level that they're at. You you can't, perfectionism would hold even the best athlete back. They are constantly going in and training. Granted, like Arnold Schwarzenegger would say, like his goal was to make the perfect human body, male body, with his bodybuilding, and he sculpted it. But that was his version of what the perfect male body is, right? I mean, it was big, but that's what they do. So he was trying to achieve perfectionism. So there's times when perfectionism can be a positive, but I think it's something to nobody's ever going to be perfect. So that there is, I think that's why I got caught in it, because I wanted to be the best I could be at all times, but it turned on me. It was like I was addicted to trying to be perfect, and then it turned on me, and it made it where I was more insecure, or I wasn't going to finish projects, or if they weren't perfect, or it's a double-edged sword. So overcoming procrastination would be start with a 2 to 5 minute action to break inertia. Start with a 2 to 5 minute action. So maybe that goes back to you with like putting your shoes on before you go, where you're like, all right, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm just going to keep moving forward. Because with me too, a lot of things are finishing tasks. That's the attention deficit that I have, where I get unfocused and I don't finish a task. It all kind of ties in. So reduce or remove distractions. That's overcoming procrastinations. Break tasks into micro tasks. I love that one. So they feel doable, and that's definitely helps. Use external accountability, deadlines, check-ins, and that's definitely like a trainer's job or a coach's job. We are that external accountability, whether when you were coaching teams, they had to be accountable to you for their practice. Me as a trainer, they have the appointment, even as small as that. They have the appointment, they're spending their money, they might as well show up. Clarify the first step, not the whole project. So that goes back to breaking it into micro goals, is what I call it in my programming. Pair tasks with a reward to increase motivation. And I remember us talking about that a couple weeks ago, how rewarding yourself with something small is a good idea to keep you moving, keep you moving forward. And use time blocking to create structure. So time blocking is when you block out times of your day and just focus on that task. And even though my reformer is in my living room, I was at the grocery store yesterday and I was like, I'm going to go right home and get on that reformer, because I was like training others, and I was literally jealous because I was like, oh, that looks like it feels so good. I really want to do that. Granted, I was really tired yesterday, like dead on my feet. I napped on a break for 15 minutes, and I woke up and I was still beat, and I had 2 more jobs. So I came home. I didn't get right on the reformer, and therefore I didn't do it for the rest of the night. The difference between the old me and the new me is I'm not really punishing myself too much, because I was really tired and I think my body needed the sleep more than the reformer. But I think it talks about that, like where you're just using time, or just saying like the 3, 2, 1, you just go drop your groceries and get right on that reformer, like get rid of the distractions, because they're always going to be there. But always remember forgiveness of yourself. There's that. Overcoming the perfectionism procrastination loop. Lower the stakes. Remind yourself the task doesn't need to be perfect. Gosh darn it. And start messy. Action reduces fear and overthinking. So even if you don't do a great job, doing something is better than not doing anything at all. And you know as well as I do, we're talking in most subjects. Obviously, there's some things that if you're not going to do it perfect, don't do it at all. But this isn't one of them. We're talking in, vaguer subjects. Build momentum with small wins. Reflect on past successes to reduce self-doubt. Practice consistency over intensity. Look at your resume. If you look at your resume, everything that's listed on my resume is all the highlights. And now that I'm older and my job, I've had this particular career for 40 years. So you have to really, cut it down because people aren't going to look past the page. But I always joke with people, I got to go on a job interview. I'm so nervous. I'm like, just sit there and revel in how you get to be so nice about yourself. You get to talk about yourself in a very nice way because you're not going to sit in front of that person and say mean things about yourself. Oh, I'm late all the time. I don't sleep enough. I'm crabby in the morning. You're not going to talk about stuff like that. You're going to remind that person of all the good things about you. So I always joke, pretend you're on a job interview. Be nicer to yourself. I'm pretty much through my paperwork. I just want to make sure I didn't skip anything with the looping, because the thing with Chat GPT is that it will reword things differently, but it's kind of just repeating itself a lot. I thought this was really cool. Why does perfection sneak in? Because you're afraid of judgment. I get fear. I used to care what people thought, and I'm getting over that. Like fear of judgment, fear of failure, and overvaluing other people's opinions. Remember that it's not necessary. This is your life. This is your world. This is your journey. Don't worry so much what other people are thinking. Really, it's easier said than done, and I get it, but really, perfectionism is not excellence. It's procrastination disguised as preparation. So when my friend Sharon said that to me, like, I see you walking around doing a lot of lists, I was procrastinating and disguising it as prep. And she saw it and she called me out on it. And I'm so glad, because from that time on, that's been probably, my father was ill. That was probably a year, 2 years ago, maybe 2.5. So I've been working on this, being aware of it and working on it for a couple years. And I've just been like, at 60, that's it. I'm done. I'm not dealing with this silliness anymore. In fitness, how does perfectionism show up in fitness? Waiting to be in perfect shape before you start a class. I have heard that stuff my whole career. Like I've got to lose some weight before I can go to the gym. And it's real. And that's I've heard it many, 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 many times. So that's a real feeling. But try not to let that, hold you back. If that's the case, if that really is the case, because I understand it more than you'll know. Like I said, I had a business called Homebody Fitness for a reason. The gym can be intimidating. It's not necessary, but it happens to people. Then get on a program inside your house and do it. Do lose the weight so you can go to the gym if that's where you want to be. You might just not find that you're a different person now, and that maybe just working out at home is good enough. Everything on these virtual platforms, you have everything at our fingertips, and we really always have. YouTube has always been there. Overthinking reps, sets, or routines instead of just moving. I know that can be a problem too with like bodybuilding structure, because there was a lot of times I was looking at my phone, and they say that too. Don't look at your phone during workouts. I had coaches say that to me. And sometimes you have to, because you have to get your sets and stuff like that. But but that is true. Your heart rate comes down. All that stuff happens when you're doing that. So make a plan. Overthinking will hold you back. Clients and people are afraid to start because they aren't ready. And there's no time like the present. And again, that's like that 3, 2, 1, just do it. Or like Nike says, just do it. So I'm getting ready to close out. So let's go over that. Perfectionism. Remember that perfectionism is procrastination. Start small, stay consistent, and learn as you go. Just try not to let it hold on to you like it did me for so many years and held me back and took like a major birthday for me to go, that's it, I'm not doing it anymore. And get in contact with me if this is something that you struggle with. Obviously I'm not a therapist, but I can certainly help you in the the fitness, the wellness element of it. And I can give you referrals to therapists. I have lots of them on speed dial. Trust me. If you know me, yeah, I have lots of therapists on speed dial, all different kinds. And try a small action today. Take a 5-minute walk. Make a 2-minute reel. If you, like me, struggle with social media, that's my thing. I did too. I did a 10-second reel. I didn't do a 2-minute one. That's kind of long. Ooh. But whatever you're struggling with, just do something. If it's take a 5-minute walk, a simple stretch, for me, social media, 2-minute reel, just do something to kind of get your fire burning. And just the overthinking has got to stop. That's all of this kind of in all this paperwork. A lot of it is a lot of overthinking, and it takes away it's procrastination disguising itself as preparation. I like that. So with that, I won't procrastinate on closing out this show. How about that? I will be finished, and I'm going to let you guys have a great rest of your day. And thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. I appreciate it every week.
Good show, Sizzle.
I turned my timer off, so I don't really know how long I went.
52 and a half minutes.
Well, good. That's wild, because that happens a lot where it's 52 minutes.
Yep.
Something.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Thanks, Steve.